Hi guys, welcome to Algebra Online. Today is day 2 of slope. So today I want you to be really good at recognizing slope from a graph and from an equation. Let's start with the first example. Like our opener for today, this is something I want you to be able to do really well, is find f of -3, and we're going to plug in -3 in 4x and to evaluate this function. All right, guys, so let's do it. We're going to place a -3 where we see the x. So -3 minus 5 and then subtract 4. We do not put the -3 here and then treat it as like an equation with terms on both sides. F of x is a fancy way to say y equals. It means it's a function. It's a good working machine. So leave f of x alone. All right, so we are going to now perform what's inside of the absolute value bars. -3 minus 5 is a -8. So I'm going to switch my colors and kind of move it off to the side and say it equals negative absolute value of -8, and then it is a subtract 4. So now we have the absolute value of -8. We know absolute value is the distance from 0 on a number line. It could never be negative, and therefore the absolute value of -8 is 8. We're going to bring down this negative sign and subtract 4. And that gives us, I owe you 8, I owe you 4, minus 8 subtracted by 4 is a -12. All right, let's get started with the lesson for today. All right, so we know from previous lessons that slope is the change in y over the change in x. It is rise over run. And so today you're going to look at 2 points on a line, and you're going to find the slope of that line looking at those 2 points. So if you notice in today's example, these first 2, the points are already chosen for us. So let's go ahead and use those. So I'm going to say I'm going to rise up 1, and I'm moving over 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because I went up 1, that is a positive, and I moved to the right 4, plus 4. Oh, 3, sorry, plus 3. Silly. Moved 3, Sasha. 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's a plus 3. So then we have our slope as a positive 1 over 3, 1/3. Okay, so let's look at the next example. We're moving up 1, and its up is a positive direction, so it's 1 over, but now this time we are going to the left. We're going back 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is a -4. Now, something that's really cool is you're going to see sometimes the negative is just out in front, which is a lot of times how I am going to write it. And that just means that our slope is definitely negative because we have one that is positive and one that is negative, so our slope is going down instead of going up. And so you can choose to take this negative and leave it down in the denominator with the 4, or just put it out in front. Either is acceptable. All right, so let's take a look at the next example. What do you notice that's different about these 2 examples? Well, they don't have any points, right? So this is where we need to try to locate the points. And so I want you to watch, well, I'll start here at the top. I want you to watch where I stop and I draw a perfect point. Boom, right there. So I am going to put a perfect point right there. Do you notice what makes that point perfect? Well, it's because that the line crosses exactly where you see these 2 grid marks kind of like form a T, right? A lowercase t here. So if I go through this red line right there is kind of like a perfect point. No. Oop, right there forms at a perfect T. So I'm going to put a point there. And I'm going to come down and find another one here. Okay, so we have our choice. We can choose to find the slope between these 2 points, these 2 points. We could even do the first and the last. It does not matter. We are going to get the same answer. All right, so let's go ahead and say we're going to rise up 1, 2, 3. And we're also going to go back 2, and to the left, back is a negative, so -2. Cool. Let's just, for funsies, right? Let's pick 2 different points And let's check what's going on there. So let's say now I want to pick this point and I want to pick this point for slope. Let's take a look. Rise up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went up 6, so it's a positive 6. And then I'm going back 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is back 4, which would give me a negative 4. And 6 over a negative 4, it simplifies to 3 over a negative 2. So it should be the same because it is the same line. It's my strategy. What I do is that I pick points that are closer to each other so I don't have to reduce, but that is up to you how you would like to do it. All right, so next example, let's go ahead and find these kind of like perfect points. No, 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 yes, right there. Then the next one. No, 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 definitely not there, right? Because it doesn't cross through at that perfect spot. It's like a little bit more than 2. Keep going, but this one, we would want to make a point. And once you have 2 points, you're good. Any 2 points form a line. And let's go ahead and check out the slope. Rise up 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's rise up 4 and to the right 1, 2, 3, positive 3. So rise over run is 4 over 3. Final answer is the slope of that line. I think this is a really good time for you to pause the video and check to see if you can do these two on your own. And it's okay if you get stuck and you're like, oh shoot, I don't know what to do, and then you press play. That's okay. It's part of the learning process, and you would do that if you were sitting in my classroom as well. All right, so pause this video. All right, let's see how you guys did. I'm going to go ahead and try to find the perfect points. There's one. There's another one. This is a pretty steep line. Do you agree? The slope is really steep. Think about like if you were in the winter and you're going to sled down this hill. Like how steep is this hill? This is like, whew, you're going straight down. Well, almost, right? But not. But like you're going pretty steep there. And would you guys go down that hill like if it was like around here? I would. I totally would do it. It'd be scary, but I don't know. I'd do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and find rise over run. So we got our slope 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's a positive 7. And we're only going to the right 2. And those are both positive. So this has a positive 7 over 2 slope. And the second example, we got lots of points to pick from. I'm just kind of highlighting any of the possible points that you may have picked. And I'm going to pick the two that's closest, rise 2 over run 1. And it is both positive because I'm going up and to the right. So the slope is 2 over 1. Now, if you can divide the fraction and simplify it into a nice whole number, you definitely can do so. The slope is 2 because 2 divided by 1 is 2. But if it doesn't give you a nice whole integer, nice number like 7 over 2, if you were divided, it'll give you a decimal. Don't write the decimal, just leave it as 7 over 2. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at these two examples. They're different, aren't they? What do you see? What do you notice? What are you wondering about? Well, let's just keep using our strategy of rise over run, and let's pick any 2 points. So we have lots of perfect points, right? So I'm just going to choose these two, and let's go ahead and do rise over run. So rise is up 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have rise 4. And then how many are we running? We're running 0. Now, we all know we cannot divide by 0. 4 divided by 0, not happening. Cannot do it. So that is called undefined slope. Undefined slope. This slope is undefined. We cannot do it. Think about like if you're standing straight up and you try to levitate, right? Straight up in the air without bending your knees, without like jumping because then you're going down then going up. Can you just straight levitate? That would be cool, but you can't. It's not defined. You can't do it. So the same thing with this line, vertical, straight up and down. The slope is undefined. Now let's take a look at the slope of a horizontal line. So horizontal line is something like this, right? That horizontal line, and I just chose any 2 points. And rise over run. Am I rising up at all? No. So rise, the 0 is on the numerator, and then I'm running 1, 2, 3. So 0 divided by 3 is 0. So the slope of a horizontal line is always 0. That would not be a very fun hill to sled down. Boring. You'd just be scooting on your sled, like trying to get yourself to go. 0 slope. No fun. Okay, the last slide is if I give you just the equation. Not a graph, just the equation. Can you tell me what the slope of that line is? Well, sure you can. We know that in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. The m represents the slope, right? It is how it's growing, how the line is growing, how the pattern is growing. And so we would say that the slope for the first example is a positive 1/5. Now, please don't write the x, right? Slope is just the number in front of x and tells us how the pattern is growing, how the line is growing, how steep this line is. So do not include the x, and that's just a common thing that students sometimes do. So I'm just letting you know, don't do it. Okay, so slope for the second example here is -5. Slope over for this line would be a -3/2 slope. And the last line, the slope, would be a positive 5/4. All right, guys, I hope you're having a really good day. Zoom into my classroom with any questions over today's lesson. Remember, you should be watching the videos before class schedule time and then zooming in if you have any questions on today's homework. All right, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.